Coach, what were your impressions of this game of Nuhu's performance, and was it in any way related to the Jovan Jones substitution?
No. No. Why? I don't know why it would be. Jovan came off with a tight hamstring, so it seems like we're, it's the end of a long year, and guys are pulling up a little bit. Nuhu's performance was very good. I mean, he's a kid with tremendous upside, but he does have to work at his game, and we'll make sure that we try and progress him as we need to.
Jeff?
Brian, the last 2 seasons when you've needed it, you've had a lot of different players step up at different times, but I'm wondering, how important is it for championship level teams to have their best players perform at a championship level when it matters most?
A lot. So you had Nelson Valdez last year, who played many times for his country, score the goal to propel us, kind of get us past. I think Nico in the Dallas series last year got us going pretty good. Jordan Morris in Colorado scoring the away goal. It was a big-time players make big plays, right? Tonight you saw Dempsey making some big plays. The first goal was, a really good effort from distance, and the second goal was just, his instincts inside the box. Certainly it was good play by Nico and Victor to get the ball in quickly. Even though some of us might have been saying to slow it down. But those guys made the plays when they needed. Clint made the plays when he needed to.
Matt Pence?
Could you tell that he was especially ready to go tonight, given how long he waited for this playoff?
He's been ready for a month. He's been ready for a long time.
Richard?
Coach, I think there's going to be a lot of talk about the opposition's tactics over these 2 legs. Can you talk about how that presented a challenge for you? It seemed to present a difference, a contrast between your team needing to be patient and his team needing to be opportunistic.
Well, I'm not going to comment directly on Karl's tactics, but I will comment on stuff in general that's happened to us over the course of the season. There were games earlier in the year where teams would drop back and defend well and try and counter on us. And I thought that gave us issues at the beginning of the year. I think over this 2-legged series with Vancouver playing to their strengths, we just need to be very careful and very wary of their, Reyna and Montero and those guys getting out on the break, Teixeira. So I think we scouted them enough, we watched enough film, we kind of knew their tendencies, and we were just trying to, a little cat and mouse game of which team could come out on top, because Karl knew our tactics too. I mean, he kind of knew who we were too. So I thought that was an interesting side note. But I think, again, to Jeff's question, the players on the field, made the plays. Our guys made the plays. I think Montero might have had a chance or 2, but, Dempsey came up tonight and made the 2 goals.
Shell, I think you were next.
Can you put into words the thoughts and feelings you had when you saw the first goal hit the back of the net and then when you saw the second goal hit the back of the net?
After the first goal, we were busy trying to figure out what we were going to do next, because 1-0 actually was a very dangerous lead for us. Very dangerous lead for us, because any goal by them would have not just given them momentum, but given them a chance to come out with the aggregate victory. So we were determined to try and figure out a solution to get the next goal. And then when the second goal went in, then there was some relief because there wasn't much time left on the clock, and certainly I felt we could, kill the game out.
Calkins?
Clint's obviously no stranger to the spotlight. You see this guy every day in practice. Can you just describe how special and how talented of a player he is?
Sure. He's worked hard at his craft. He's worked hard at his craft for many years, starting when he was a little kid. His mom and dad took him to all the games and all that sort of stuff. His finishing and his ability to, just find goals in moments is tremendous. Ever since he's came here, he's scored some pretty big goals for this club. And obviously you guys know the storyline behind him scoring big goals for his country. So we're happy to have him. And tonight was one of those textbook nights where he shows up and does what he does best.
Moss?
Yeah, hey, Brian, did you switch to tactical at halftime? Because it looked like you had a high press to begin the second half, and if you did, what role did the midfield play in that?
We tried to press them from the first minute, so if it didn't happen, Maz, that's my bad. Maybe when you get them in at halftime and you make little adjustments, or you can poke a guy here, or you can say, hey, I need you to do this, because you get an idea of how the game is manifesting itself. Maybe that was some of it, but again, it comes down to the team. I mean, we're talking a lot about Clint, but the rest of the guys behind him and in front of him, because Will Bruin did a good job pressing high, all those guys deserve all the credit in the world, because we needed to come out and press and dictate tempo of the game, knowing that they're a good counter team. So that was, again, the little cat and mouse game we had to play to make sure we were pressing high, you know, trying to make attacking movements, and then watching out what was coming behind us.
Harvey?
Coach, you were talking at training the other day about how the players were ready to play, how it's been a very long season. You now have a nearly 3-week break before you'll play in the conference finals. What goes into managing that break, especially since you don't know who you'll play until Sunday?
Well, I gave them the day off tomorrow. They can enjoy the victory. And then we'll go back to work. We'll watch game film. We'll do all our normal stuff. And we'll try and get a couple practice games against, you know, some of the S2 guys that are around and stuff like that. We'll try and get them fit. Obviously, the international guys are going to be gone. So it will be a challenge. It's a couple days more than what we had last year because it was the Thursday night kickoff instead of the Sunday. But we'll adjust. I mean, we'll make do. I think the guys, by the end of that next stretch of training sessions, they'll really be sick of us, and they'll really be ready to play. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage.
Art?
One of the oldest bromides in sports is as difficult as it is to win a championship, it's even more difficult to defend. How has it been so far?
It has been a challenging season, to say the least. You know, I think we started off this year with a little bit of a hangover. I thought there were some, you know, some guys that maybe just were still celebrating our championship. I think as a first-year head coach, needed to learn some things. We tried to look at what we had done for the past, you know, 7.5 years and figure out, are those the right things? Are they important? What is important to us? What's important to the group? And doing some new things and trying to push the envelope to try and push this club to a higher level. So I think overall, the course of this season, it was a little bit of a learning process for both the players on the field and for myself. And so as we end here now at the tail end of the season, I think you see some of the good work that Gonzo, Jimmy, and Tommy Dutra, they've done, my assistants, and what the team has done. The team has figured out a way how to win games again. My crack staff here would tell you guys the exact stats, but we've only lost 2 games in like the last 18. Something like that, 18 or 19. We've only lost 2 games in a very long time, and that's a pretty impressive record. So we're hard to beat. So in these 2-game series, it makes us dangerous. And then, you know, if we get past Houston or Portland, and you know, then we'd have a good shot at anybody to repeat as champions.
Tyler Slava?
Yeah. Coach, it seemed tonight was one of those nights where every time Vancouver had possession, you had 3 or 4 green shirts around them. What can you say to kind of the team defensive performance that was out there tonight and has been there for a number of games now?
Well, I talk a lot over the course of the year about Christian Roldan. I love talking about him. He's one of those guys in the middle of the park that always do those little details that people might sometime miss. I thought Nico playing in a little deeper position, using his sheer athleticism of being able to cover so much ground, helped us in that regard. You know, I talked about Gustav coming in and doing a good job. Jordy DeLem, who didn't play a lot of minutes, came in the game up there in Vancouver, did a good job. Harry Shipp did a good job. He came in next man up. You know, that's kind of our mantra. He did a good job of closing guys down. So I think overall it was a team performance. And when you have guys like Roman and Chad behind you, directly behind you, it gives you the confidence to press and do some of those things, because you know that you got some rock solid center backs right behind you.
Travis?
Coach, Steph is 7 minutes away from breaking the all-time MLS postseason consecutive shutout streak.
7 minutes?
7 minutes, yeah, 467 total. What do you make of him back there stepping up in big moments and counting on him every time you step on the field?
Well, it was great. It's obviously great, and the shutout is certainly testament to Steph and the work he does with Tommy and Brian and Tyler. But the team ahead of him did a good job tonight. I'd have to look back at the tape and think about it. I don't think he was tested too bad tonight, so he might have had one of his easier nights. You know, but when I look back about Vancouver, Seattle, and Steph, I mean, the save that he did against Montero a couple games ago, I mean, that's what he can do. That's what he's capable of. So, you know, we love having him around.
Pros guy, Stephen first.
Were you surprised to see Reyna and Teixeira start after Robinson's comments this week?
No. He called his team the underdog. He was just messing with me. Karl's a good guy. He's a good coach. His team has had a successful season, and it's testament to what the Vancouver Whitecaps are all about. I mean, they want to win a championship as bad as anybody, and I think they've got some good pieces now, and they're going to be a dangerous team. So that was not an easy series by any stretch of the imagination, and the regular season standings bear that out. I mean, you know, Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, the three of us were right up there, separated by a point or two.
From both legs, you seem like the team never really panicked from defense to offense. There's no worry of we need to score a goal or we're going to concede a goal. How much does the maturity of the team's run last year have affected the team this year into playing so well?
I think the run last year certainly helps. There's guys on that roster that played last year, but I would expand that to say that the team is a pretty veteran team. If you look at how we started, you know, Kelvin, Roman, Marshall, and Nuhu is the only young kid on that line, right? Christian and Ladero, Ship, Dempsey, Jovan Jones, and they're all experienced MLS guys, I think, and add Steph to the mix. I don't want to forget about Steph. That's a pretty experienced group. And so that gives you a little bit of, you know, not the highs and lows that you might get out of a younger team. And, you know, it definitely shows in big occasions like this. You know, you can't have those up and down, those drops. The lows are too low and the highs certainly, you know, I love Nuhu, and when he's high, he's really high, and then, you know, he might do something silly. But other than that, I think we have a pretty experienced team.
Nico, and then one or two follow-ups. We can get the guys on deadline out of here. Nico, go ahead.
Coach, you're the video one of the best teams in the MLS with Dempsey playing one game, Victor playing 20. What does that say about your team in general today and coming up for the next challenges? Next
man up. We talked about it. Jordy DeLem, Ship, all those guys came in. Jovan playing out of position, Nuhu stepping in. It's next man forward. Those guys work hard every day. You know, it's testament to the team. Those guys are the champs.
Richard, I saw you first for follow-ups.
Coach, building on what you just said about next man forward, compared to the team that you had last year, 12 months ago, you've added a lot of key depth pieces in that time. What does that do for you as far as how you're able to prepare, how you're able to manage these games, and what the team is capable of achieving?
Well, it gives me more pieces. I mean, you know, we were really happy that Victor was able to come through, and again, 1-0 being in a dangerous scoreline, you know, being able to bring Victor on change the game. I mean, we were then again more dangerous in our attack and able to get the second goal. I think if I look at last year's squad and this year's squad, I think they're both pretty balanced. I mean, we had Zach Scott, Hercules Gomez, we had Ivanchit. We had a good team. This year it's the same. The overall culture of this club of winning is something that guys like Zach Scott, that's their legacy. They leave it to the guys in that locker room. You know, Hercules was a good pro, and he did a lot to help, you know, the Jordan Morrises and all the younger attacking players. So we've had guys in this club that have done a good job of continuing that culture of winning.
Stretch.
You have a preference who you want to play for the Western Conference Final?
Ask Joe. Ask Joe Roth.
I'm right here. Joe, does he have a preference?
We'd like to play our second game at home.
Whoever it is, we know it's going to be a tough series. Both Houston and Portland provide different challenges. So either one is okay. Sure would be nice to have a little more I-5 rivalry, but you never know.
Jason, then we'll go last one to Michelle.
Did you know back in January when you signed Nuhu that he was going to be a guy you could trust for 90 minutes in the playoffs?
No. He's developed. Jimmy Traore's done a great job mentoring that kid. So he's had the benefit of a Champions League winner mentoring on a daily basis. So his career path is a good one. It's a promising one.